Let's talk about growth. Let's talk about, because that's the only game in town at the moment, it's growth. There's nothing else that matters in your life more than growth, because if you're not growing, you're going downwards. It's like this, okay? This is where you are right now, okay? Now, if you're not going up, you're going down. It's a fact, because if you're thinking that I'm just staying static, if you're just staying in this position and you're not moving, and this is where 98% of people live, here, right? The people that change the world are always growing. They're always developing. It's growth. If you're not growing, you're going down. Because what's happening is your brain's getting bored. And it's getting bored by following the process over and over and over again without the development, without the ecstatic desire. See, it's the mindset behind what you do that is the key here and where you go. It doesn't matter what you do. It's the mindset of why you're doing this and where your personal destination is. And I'm not saying you need to be self-employed or you need to not be a salary earner. Whatever it is you do, just remember this. Remember this, why you're doing it. And it's not good enough to say, well, I'm doing it to get a salary so I can pay my bills at the end of the week. That's not good enough. You can't, because your brain's gonna say, okay, well, we'll solve that, but we end up staying here. And we end up, as you become older, staying in a job that you kind of are not passionate about. The brain starts to get bored and starts to regress. And so what happens? What happens? The number one thing people do on a Friday night is drink alcohol and eat junk food. Now, why is that? Think about it. Think about it. Friday night comes and I've worked really hard, and you see people I've worked around, I can't wait for Friday night. And we get alcohol and we drink and we eat junk food. Because you always hear it, I've got my whole weekend, I'm going to be free. So Friday night and during Friday after work, it's a moment psychologically where people feel at their best. Why is that? Because they've got the whole weekend of freedom to do whatever they want, to relax. And the thing is, if you think about it, we've spent the whole week doing a job that we don't necessarily like. And our purpose is really just to earn an income, which is okay. We have to earn an income so we can pay our bills. But unfortunately, that system is driving you down, because what you're doing is you're staying at the same place. Businesses, every single business right now has a goal. The business owners have a goal. CEOs have goals that they have to meet. And you've got to remember this, and I really believe, whilst most businesses will do everything they can to help you, and they'll do everything they can to make you better and make you more skillful and all that, which is great, it falls under their goal. It falls under their umbrella. And so while you're doing a course that may make you more skillful in your job, you may not necessarily love it, because at the end of the day, you don't really have that passionate, that burning, that ecstatic desire. Your bosses have it, the business owners have it, but you don't have it. And so because you don't have it, most people just stay here. And then what happens is you end up being a certain age, and the business starts to say, well, you know what, we don't need you anymore, leave. And then I hear this all the time. I hear it from friends that say, I just got sacked and I'm too old now and no one wants to employ me because of my age, and what am I going to do now? And typically what happens, 95% of the conversation Starts with gossiping about your bosses, gossiping about, oh, the organisation mistreated me, gossiping about they didn't do this for me, I spent 20 years with this organisation, I gave my life for this, I sacrificed for this organisation, and then they just threw me out. Guess what? Guess what happened? Nothing happened that was bad for them because they are fulfilling their ecstatic desire. You weren't fulfilling your ecstatic desire because your ecstatic desire would increase your value. Because no one gets sacked, no one loses their job when they're growing and developing. When you're increasing your value, everyone wants you. Everyone wants the piece of you. It's got nothing to do with age. And so your life becomes about growth. Everything you do is about growth. And I get it. I see people saying, oh, but you know what, I get tired at work, I come home, all I want to do is eat and just scroll on social media. Yep, I get that. I get it. But you know what it is? It's a cheap dopamine. It's a cheap habit. And unfortunately, it's a habit that's driving you down. And when you're driving down, because if you're staying the same, your brain's going down. And if you're going down, that's when depression hits, that's when anxiety hits, that's when stress hits, that's when you age really, really fast. That's when you put on weight. And that is when you start dying. Okay, you make a decision. Because sooner or later, the decision's going to be made for you. And AI automation, and I'm involved in AI automation, so I know what the discussions are happening at the moment. Every single business is talking about AI automation. If anything in your job, if anything in your work can be automated, it will be automated because your business owners, the bosses of your employment are talking about it. Governments are talking about it. It's on the agenda. So what are you going to do to protect yourself? Growth. It's all about growth. And we change the mindset. And we're not talking about growth. Once we spark the brain gets excited. That's what deep learning is about, exciting the brain so that you become excited. It becomes like a game, a routine, where you practice gaining experience, overcome a problem towards an ecstatic desire. That's the game. And once it becomes like a machine, that becomes your life, and then you become unstoppable.